When it comes to communicating your brand, having a positioning statement on hand and ready to go is a great tool that every startup founder and business owner should have. So let's take a look at the elevator pitch framework. This is a great way to summarize your positioning statement in 2 sentences or less. And what it does is it brings together all of the different aspects of your go-to-market strategy and summarizes it in a very clear and concise way that anyone can understand. Now, the key to having branded messaging is that you have a core set of values and a purpose that comes through in that message. Doing that can sometimes require a deeper dive with market research or even a better understanding of your customer and the value that you bring. But once you have that, you'll really be able to define what your brand drivers are. So what are the things that are really going to propel your brand forward, top of mind for your customers? And also start to think about what exactly you do want to brand. It doesn't have to be the entire business. It could be specific experiences. And then also thinking through your brand personality. So think of your brand as a person. If someone were going to talk about your brand, how would they describe? So you want to identify your core values and your purpose first. So you've done a little bit of market research, then you set your strategy, and then you have your customer. And there's a lot of things that are going into your customer's decision about using your product or service, and this is where the brand can come in. So you want to know what types of things does your customer care about? What affects them? What do they believe in? What are their social influences? And then you also want to understand, what do they have access to? What can they search online? What choices are they having to make? Or what are they influenced by or communicating with? All of that will then go into helping you define what are the core values of your customer, and then what should be the core values of your brand. Now, brand drivers are the most important selling points of your product or service. Each brand pillar will then be supported by a key benefit statement and supporting examples. So let's take a look. Now, if you have a brand driver, it can be a number of different motivators as it relates to your customer. It could be a functional benefit, so the job that your customer is trying to get done. It could be an emotional benefit. It could be economic or self-expressive benefits. These are the ways that your customer wants to feel after using your product, and this is what you're promising them they'll feel after using your product or service. Now, given the brand's promise, you want to give the brand human characteristics that your customer is going to trust and recognize to deliver on your brand promise. And there's 5 dimensions of a brand personality. One is sincerity. So how sincere is your brand? How do people feel when it comes to trusting the promises that you're making? 2 is excitement. How light and funny or austere and serious is the brand meant to be perceived? 3rd is competence. Do you want to position yourself as a leader, as a thought leader in the industry? Sophistication. So again, is this like a high-class, sophisticated brand or something that's light and not too serious? And then, of course, ruggedness. So how kind of earthy and grounded is your brand? Or is it something that's kind of ethereal and light? So let's take an example, the Parent Watch. Now, our example product is watches, and our target customer is parents. And the strategy that we want to go with is high-end watches. Now, in step 1, the first thing we want to do is list a set of beliefs that we think people might have about parents. Now, these, of course, are assumptions that we can validate with user interviews, but for now, we're just going to list some assumptions. So I'm going to say that parents are special, that being a parent is an important role, that it's hard work, and that parents do everything that they can to help their families. Now notice here, I've only talked about our customer, nothing about the product, and nothing about the strategy. Step 2, I want to draft a brand promise. So this should tell both what the brand is and what the brand believes, and now we should link it to our strategy. So Parent Watch celebrates parenthood by helping parents be the very best they can be for their children. So again, we're speaking to parents and what we believe about parents, but we're also talking about our high-end strategy, so being the best. Then step 3, we want to ask ourselves, what goes into being a great parent from the parent's perspective? So maybe they think about being a great parent as being protective or staying connected to the kids, or maybe just being the fun mom and dad. So we list out all of these things to really understand what are the motivators of great parenting from our customer's perspective. Then step 4, we want to define and categorize our brand attributes based on these things that we've listed. So we have getting it all done as a brand attribute, protection, performing duties, staying connected. So these are all things that we are now identifying and categorizing as things that matter to our customer.